Dear Mother, I found myself on the road again, and I'm feeling free. If I can't be at home, I'd rather be adventuring, exploring the great world beyond the borders of our small town. I believe the thrill of the unknown is a prerequisite for the well-being of my spirit. In fact, I think I may have caught the wanderlust bug, so long as I'm in good company, and I am rich with good company at the moment. After my long soak in Sarah's room, I had a restful night's sleep, the first I've had in ages. The next morning, we met Victor, Bolt, and Ezra in the dining hall. A towering stack of pancakes was placed before me, and, never a girl to shy away from a hearty meal, I silently challenged myself to eat them all. Bolt held the glowing ember core of Embarrass, the fire elemental from the sanctum, in their hands. They were staring at it as they turned it over again and again. Bolt wondered if Hollix, the minotaur we met at the brew bash, might be able to help resurrect the elemental. Hollix is a druid, after all. We all agreed that it wouldn't hurt to give it a shot. Hollix lives in Palebend, which is a town in Six Hills, so it wouldn't be too much trouble to visit him and ask for his assistance. Sari and I shared our plan with the others, to meet with Lucan and have Sari pose as Ezra, to keep him out of harm's way. Ezra, Victor, and Bolt agreed to join us on our journey to Terabon. Victor has agreed to teach me to fight blind. I'm not certain he would normally have agreed to help, but Sari nearly pestered him into submission. I have to laugh at the dynamic between those two. For being a hardened bounty hunter, Victor can be so sweetly oblivious and naive. Sari loves to take advantage of that and teases Victor incessantly. As I was about halfway through my pancakes and pushing away the feelings of a stomachache, we heard loud, impending steps coming our way. Each step was accompanied by the tinkle of spurs. We turned to the sound and found Ainur Elovir. She had come to thank us for our help in the sanctum. You would like Ainur, Mother. She is what you would call the salt of the earth, loyal and forthright and true. She offered us a ride with her to Willow Creek Hollow. I looked to Ezra to see if his face might betray his feelings about his home, but he simply shrugged and said that he had some unfinished business there. Willow Creek Hollow is on the way to Terabon, and Ainur promised to cook for us on our journey as a thank you for rescuing her. As we parted to gather supplies and to meet with Hollix before our long journey, Ainur asked to speak with Ezra in private. The others left, but I stayed behind to wait for Ezra. Mother, I know you will be ashamed to hear that I may have eavesdropped on Ezra and Ainur's conversation, but I was only looking out for my friend. Friend. Yes, I do consider these dear people my friends. I watched Ainur pull a large poster out of her pocket. On it was a drawing of Ezra, though it wasn't an exact likeness, but if someone were actively looking for him, I think they could put two and two together. Ainur revealed that Ezra's father, Trevin, has been arrested, and that there is a bounty on Ezra's head with 100 gold reward attached to it. A few days after Trevin was arrested, 3 shady-looking characters came to Ainur's restaurant looking for him. One of them was a human with a black disc medallion on their chest. The medallion had an hourglass with an eye engraved on it. Ainur said that she feels indebted to Ezra, and she would never reveal him to the Arcanum, but suggested he get himself a disguise. I couldn't agree more. Ezra and I joined the others, and we made our way to Palebend. We summited a hill and found ourselves surrounded by yurts, beautiful circular tents. Everywhere we looked, we found minotaurs. Children ran about the fields where their parents oversaw the earth and water elementals at work. It instantly took me back to playing with Tyrion Boldspeaker in the little brook at home. We would spend hours splashing in the water on hot days. He was always my favorite friend. Some afternoons we would just lie in the wildflowers and watch the clouds roll overhead while dreaming about our futures. Do you know he taught me to speak Minotaur? Tell Tyrion I say hello. We were met by Hollix and his captivating little water elemental from the brew bash competition. I gave it a little squeeze. Hollix had heard that we ventured to Hollowbend, and he was surprised because it was, in his words, a scary place. I almost couldn't hold back my laughter. Scary doesn't even begin to describe it. Bolt explained what we had found in the sanctum and handed the core to Hollix. He held it as gently as you would a newborn baby, his eyes filled with reverence and awe. Holix said that he could resurrect Embarrass, but he would be a different version of himself, though he would have his old memories. Holix asked for our help with the ritual. He needed us to gather symbols of each of the 4 elements. We quickly left to gather our items. Upon our return, we found a giant bonfire, surrounded by the Minotaurs, all chanting and singing an ancient tune. Holix took each of our elements and used them as part of the ritual. Seredan offered a pinwheel from the festival. Ezra offered up a charred log. Bolt offered a wildflower. Victor provided water from a well, and I provided a simple pine cone because it reminded me of home. As Holix rehearsed his hymn, I felt some supernatural force pull at my soul, and I heard myself thinking, "Yes, Embarrass, my spirit wants you here." I closed my eyes and allowed myself to bask in the divine experience we were all having together. I heard a log cracking in the fire. I opened my eyes to see an owl emerge from the flames. It was completely swathed in fire, from its powerful beak to its sharp talons. Embarrass was alive. Holix was visibly emotional. There were 2 streams of tears running down his face. It was clear to me in that moment how sacred the earth and the elements are to him and his people. I can only hope to treat the land with as much love and respect. The owl, Embarrass, flapped its wings and perched on a log, then spoke to us. She was surprised to be back. She thought everything had been lost to the darkness in the sanctum. We told her what had happened with the purple flesh monster. Bolt warned her about the nasty bugs left in the burned forest. Embarrass thanked us for our help and gifted us each a single owl feather before she flew off to be reunited with Glitterbug. As I was carefully braiding my owl feather into my hair, Victor tried to help Ezra create a disguise. He rubbed his hands in the soot of the fire and tried to wipe his hands on Ezra's face. I'm still giggling to myself thinking about it. Ezra dodged Victor's sooty fingers and said he would use a scroll of disguise instead. We thanked Holix for his help with the resurrection. I asked when he will be getting married. He said that they are planning on Ignis, just before planting season. I handed him my communication ring, and when he handed it back, I found a little pair of horns had been etched into the ring. I hope to get an invitation as they get closer to the wedding day. We returned to the town square and met up with Ainor. She purchased a donkey, which we've since named Penelope, to help pull her caravan. Her caravan was loaded to the brim with supplies, and we began our 10-day journey to Willow Creek Hollow. It has been good to spend time with my friends on this journey. The scenery is breathtaking. Meadows filled with lush grass adorned with beautiful flowers stretch as far as the eye can see. Gentle animals are everywhere. Whenever we take a break from walking, I like to find a quiet place to listen to the birds sing. From the bold call of the blue jay to the melodic trill of the thrush, their psalms help me commune with nature and brings me closer to the power of the trio. Victor has been teaching me to fight without my sight. He is so disciplined in his craft, and quite frankly, he makes fighting blind look easy. I can assure you, it is not. Fighting with sticks is his favorite form of torture for me. I should be grateful it's just sticks. I'm covered from head to toe in lumps, bumps, and bruises. Evidence of my novice abilities. I do think I'm improving, but Victor would probably say otherwise. I love the feeling of unity that has started to form within our group. Ezra and Seredan spend a lot of time together as Ezra has been teaching Seredan how to better recognize magic. Bolt has been building a clockwork owl for Ezra. I marvel at Bolt's ingenuity and penchant for all things mechanical. On our 3rd day of travel along the long road, we ran into a bit of trouble. We were arguing about who dislikes Glitterbug the most. I'm quite certain it's a tie between Seredan and Ainor. As we came around a bend, a large rock was blocking the road. The rock began to move, and we quickly realized it was not a rock at all, but a massive unsavory troll. He introduced himself as Brux and demanded we feed him or become food ourselves, claiming that he owned the road. He seemed particularly interested in Ainor's donkey Penelope. I asked Brux what kind of food he's interested in. He gave me a menacing smile, licked his lips, then simply said, "Raw meat." He's definitely not the type of troll I'd want to run into on a stroll alone at night. Ezra tried to use magic to put Brux to sleep, but it just made him angry. It seemed there was no reasoning with the brute. Sometimes a bit of violence is the only solution. Victor snuck behind a rock and threw a knife at Brux from out of the shadows. The dumb swine had no idea where the knife came from. While the troll's little brain was trying to comprehend what had just happened, Bolt raised their gauntlets and delivered a massive blow, with a bit of help from Ezra's time magic. Brex didn't seem to like Bolt's attack and decided to solve the problem the only way trolls know how, with his mouth. He bit Bolt like an outraged toddler, then tossed them to the side. Sari attacked with her glaive but missed the troll. Inspired by our experience with Holics, I tried to call upon the power of the earth for help. Vines rose from the ground beneath the troll's feet, wrapping his arms and legs, but he was too strong and quickly broke free. Once again, I was close enough to smell our enemy. Why do I continually find myself contending with putrid beasts? Have they not heard of bathing? Ezra shot orange magic from his hands at Brux, who was soon engulfed in flames. Victor ran out from where he was hiding. He dove behind the troll and swiftly sliced the back of both of the troll's knees, causing him to fall. As he was falling to the ground, Bolt delivered a beautiful uppercut with their gauntlets. The troll slammed into the earth, the force of which knocked me onto my back. Sari delivered a swift hit with her glaive. The vines hadn't worked for me, so I returned to my trusty longsword, killing the stinking troll. The troll's body was blocking our path, so Bolt tried to move it off the road. As they started to drag Brux, the troll rose to his feet. Perhaps next time we should check for a pulse before disposing of a body. Brux grabbed Bolt in his hands, smashed them to the earth, then threw them 20 feet. Sari struck the troll with her glaive and yelled at Ezra to use more fire. Ezra quickly torched the troll, and we determined he was dead at last. I ran to Bolt. The poor thing was so banged up. They were leaking oil all over the dusty ground. I put my hands on them and made a silent plea to the trio. Bolt opened their eyes as the soft purring of a cat awoke them, providing comfort and health. After our run-in with Brux, we needed a reprieve. Ainor got to work cooking us up some of her delicious food. We've been well fed on our journey thus far, Mother. I've eaten some of the most exotic foods, and they've all been delicious. Fossil soup, albatross with strawberries, chickweed pie. I'll try to gain the courage to ask Ainor for some of her recipes to send to you. Yesterday we ran into a Meadstead beer golem that looked like it had gotten into a scuffle. It was covered in blood, which we suspect came from bandits attempting to steal its contents. It is very curious, Mother. This stretch of the long road is normally very safe to travel on. It is protected by the House of Greenwood from Terabon. Something must be amiss. Bolt cautiously approached the golem, and it seemed to be at ease in their presence. Bolt spent nearly 2 hours tinkering, patching, and adjusting the construct. When they were done, the golem stood, dispensed a voucher of sorts for 1 free keg of Meadstead beer, then lumbered off. Last night was a full moon. Sari and I laid in our beds in eager anticipation while we waited for the others to go to sleep. Once we thought they were out, we crept off to hunt for Luna berries. Mother, I was so surprised and excited to learn that I can use magic to help me speak with animals. We found a kind owl sitting silently in a tree. He provided us with directions to a lunaberry patch. We followed the owl's perfect directions and found ourselves surrounded by the glowing fruit. I picked a handful and shoved them into my mouth. They are as glorious as I remember. I turned to ask Sari if she liked them, to find her mouth glowing with lunaberry juice. She looked ridiculous. She grinned, revealing her luminous stained teeth. I was soon doubled over with laughter. We quickly found we could use the berries as body paint, and were absolutely radiant with hand-drawn designs on our faces and arms. We ate more berries than we reserved for Ainor, but how could we not? Soon our fingers were sore from picking, and we rested in the lunaberry patch, looking at the constellations above, as you and I once did many years ago. I like to think that you may be looking at the same stars as I am at the moment I'm looking at them, and it helps me not to miss you as much. Sari helps too. My adoration for her grows every day. The best part of today was eating the bread pudding Sari and I baked for dinner, with Ainor's assistance, of course, using the lunaberries we picked. Victor even made wassail. I think he spiked it with vodka, which will come as a surprise to no one but perhaps Ainor, but it was tasty nonetheless. I often wonder if I'll ever be able to send these letters to you. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to deliver them in person. I hope I get to see you again. I love you. Eve.